All right, buckle in for this one. Dino says, ATO is a fraud, a corporation, not government, never gazetted into law. Not only is your caps make me very anxious, but your punctuation makes me bleed out of my left ear. Now, I suspect Dino is among these group of individuals that I refer to as sovereign citizens. These individuals that hold these conspiracy theories that usually relate around the ATO not being a valid entity and not having any right to collect taxes from the people. They also believe that they shouldn't have driver's licenses, pay for registration, and all of these other kind of really crazy things. Now, I know that the vast majority of people don't exist on this extreme end of the spectrum, but all of us exist on a spectrum between complete and utter non-believers of taxation to those who pay tax with a smile on their face because they understand the value of that contribution. I'm going to explain to you why I'm on the complete opposite spectrum to Dino here, and hopefully help you make educated and informed decisions around your relationship with tax. Now, on one side, you can hold the perspective of Dino, and maybe you think that's a little bit crazy. But for the vast majority of business owners, you have a kind of not very healthy relationship with the tax man, right? You want to pay as little tax as possible. You implement strategies to try and minimize that tax because you feel like the government is putting their hand into your pocket, and as a result, you would prefer to minimize how much hand goes into your pocket as a result. But most business owners overlook the flow-on impact associated with them not embracing the tax system. Now, let's talk about the philosophical and societal impacts of taxation. Now, if you do not agree with how the government spends our money, then move to another country, okay? Because we live in Australia. It is the greatest country in the world, I believe. We are afforded so many civil liberties, so much infrastructure, so great a quality of life, so much opportunity and freedom that if you don't align with those things, then go and find somebody somewhere else where you believe that you're going to get a better quality and standard of life for a lower amount of taxation. Okay, I'll wait and allow for you to come back to me with alternatives of where you can go, because you can look at most of the developed countries in this world, and for the vast majority of them, they were going through far more difficult times than what we are in Australia. Okay, now let's put that aside. Let's just talk about your own selfish goals and objectives. Now, as a direct result of you not paying tax, it means that you must minimize your income. And as a direct result of you minimizing your income, you must minimize the amount of disposable income that you and your family have available to you in order for you to be able to live your lifestyle. Because you either need to compromise that lifestyle or you must break the law in order to minimize your taxation. And that either occurs by you taking cashiers or drawing money out of your business that essentially is declaring that your income is much lower than what it is, or actually drawing much lower income, which has a direct impact on your lifestyle. The second factor is by minimizing your tax and minimizing your income, you are minimizing the amount of borrowing capacity that you have available in order to achieve your goals and to build wealth for the future. Now, for the vast majority of people that I have worked with, most of them want to accumulate property. They want to buy their home and they want to work on trying to pay that home off. Now, if we look at the average median house price that exists in most capital cities in Australia, most people need to spend about $1 million in order to buy their family home. Now, you need to have a household income of typically about 6 times the amount of debt that you need to borrow in order to be able to lend that money in the first place, because the banks don't lend money to people that don't make any money. And if you are not declaring income on your tax returns, they are not going to lend you any money, okay? The second factor is that if you then want to pay that mortgage off, you are going to need to distribute additional income above and beyond what you needed to get the loan in the first place if you want to stand a chance of trying to pay that loan off within 30 years, right? For most of our clients, they want to be debt-free in the next 10 years. And that typically means that they, in some cases, need to double the amount of income that they're drawing out of their business. And in turn, they typically double the amount of tax they end up paying. Now, of course, we implement structures and strategies in order to optimize that tax, but we do not minimize the tax. We focus on trying to earn more money every single year and in turn pay more tax every year, because you can selfishly build more wealth as a result. And then thirdly, for the vast majority of those people, they also want to build a property portfolio. They want to get investment properties that provide them with rental income that then allows them to create passive income that doesn't require them to have to work day in and day out. And then once again, the bank isn't going to lend you any money if you do not have income to show for it. And what you've also got to realize is that the banks in Australia are very conservative, that they put buffers in place for every amount of borrowing that you take on, which typically means that you have a diminishing borrowing capacity, or what we also refer to as the debt ceiling. So for so many individuals who buy an investment property, or potentially two, and get completely stuck, this is because they are not paying themselves more income using the bank's rules in order to have a forward-facing strategy that is going to allow them to build wealth for the future, using the bank's money to do so. So the best possible thing that you could do to really stick it to the government is for you to become so independently wealthy and structure that wealth so effectively that you pay a minimum amount of tax once you have built the asset base that you require in order to be financially free and to provide for you and your family. Doing so prior to being financially free is just cutting off your nose to spite your face, and is going to keep you poor and is going to keep you in this vicious cycle of having to rely on handouts from this said government that you so wholeheartedly don't believe in, that are going to have to bail you out by way of social incentive schemes, of social security, and of the pension schemes that exist, which essentially are going to guarantee that you must exist under the poverty line in order to use these handouts because you were not prepared to prepare yourself, and you would prefer to pick a fight with the government, which is only at your detriment. I know which option I'm going to choose. I'm going to pay ridiculous amounts of tax every single year so I can build as much wealth as humanly possible, and I'm going to support the amazing country that I call home that's allowed me the platform to create this opportunity. So Dino, I expect that you're going to respond with some dribble about maritime law and all of these kind of constitutions being owned by US entities and all of this bullshit. And quite frankly, you're more than welcome to hold on to that opinion because it is yours to keep. I'm going to stick to doing what I'm doing and what I've used to help my clients amass over $3 billion in combined wealth, and that I've used to be able to create multi-seven figures in personal wealth and financial freedom at 35. Let me know how much wealth you've got.